riding. And when he first mentioned his riding, whenever I find out about riding, I always try to Wikipedia and look at the riding.
Oh, no.
And it's not that bad because I was looking at the history of the riding and I said 26 years a New Democrat. It was Derek Blackburn. And so when I saw this, I'm like, wow, this is awesome. And then I actually start creeping Marc's Facebook and seeing how much he does, holding different events and that. So then I actually got really excited about it. And actually, I haven't told Marc this yet, but I actually start asking people around the hill and different people asking about Marc. And they keep coming back and saying how much they see Marc doing. And I even talked to a few people and they said, I would love to go out to Brantford and work on the campaign because they're so excited about some things that he's doing.
I need their names.
I'll pass them on to you.
They're staying here.
So, with that, I actually would like to invite our next speaker up to give a bit of his perspective on being a candidate for the New Democratic Party.
Thank you, Stephen. Bonsoir, je m'appelle Marc Laferriere. Je suis une jeunesse avec des idées. Tu es des jeunesses avec des idées. I'm also a young person who has a better accent in French than I do a vocabulary, so that will be the end of my French portion for the evening. I do want to talk to you, though, about ideas. Young people have ideas, and they can't be silenced, and they shouldn't be. Something that I really look at. I'm really lucky. I come from a riding where in one of our cities, we had a 27-year-old mayor elected, not that long ago. I also come from a riding, as Stephen had mentioned, that was New Democrat not that long ago. So when I go to a door, or when I have an event, people aren't throwing the ageist thing at me because they've seen young representation. They understand that we need more diverse voices at the table, that some of the problems that have happened, they're not caused by us, but we deserve a spot at the table to try and fix them. Now the thing is that sometimes young people, and I've been this way before, sometimes young people can have a desire to be very brash, and that's exciting, but real diversity is working with people, not just at them. So something I would really suggest we all keep in mind as we knock on doors, as we help out campaigns, as we organize in communities. Forget the politics. Let's just talk about organizing in communities, is to work with other people, to accept that diversity. I've been really lucky in the last several months. I've been able to work with Derek Blackburn, who was the candidate before in Brant, who's a senior. And the mentoring he's been able to give has been incredible and exciting. And if I was to say, no, I know everything, I'm in my 20s, I wouldn't get that. Be able to work with Tony on some things. Tony comes with so much knowledge and so much of an understanding of how change actually happens. It's incredible. I've been able to, with Canada Without Poverty, I've been able to work with Ed Broadbent to hear those pieces of gold, for lack of a better term, that he's been able to share. These are people who have something to offer, and they want to offer it with us, and they want to work with us, and we need to want to work with them to really make that diversity happen. But people understand that diversity involves younger voices, and younger voices again at the table to help fix a lot of the problems. And there are. You see the posters, on the walls here about fighting climate change, ending unfair ATM charges, reducing tuition fees so that people have access to education, people have access to a better quality of life, people have access to that engagement that Tony was talking about. And thank you, Tony, for everything you had to say about Canada Without Poverty, about the issues that are closest to your heart, and about what people here can do. Now, I've been involved in politics since I was 14. When I was 14 years old, I petitioned my city hall to bring a bus to my high school. We didn't have one. And I grew up in poverty on the welfare system, and I couldn't stay after school if I didn't have a ride. And that was successful. It was organizing. It was getting signatures. It was asking people at City Hall to accept what we were doing. As somebody's half clapping back there. Thank you. Oh, thank you.
If we're not organising at the level of inclusiveness,
Yes.
then we've lost it.
Yeah, thank you.
That, I absolutely applaud what you did.
Thank you. But I really suggest if you have this feeling about what the New Democrats are doing, to get as involved as you can, in a sane way. Don't drop out of school or anything like that. We need you to be educated. But you really need to look at different ways to help out. I was lucky enough to help out on campaigns. I went and did my master's up in Thunder Bay, and I helped out on some winning campaigns with Bruce Heyer and John Rafferty. And to get that experience, to do that. You guys are at the center of the Canadian political world. When I went to Ottawa U, we were lucky. We had people from all the parties coming. And the reason I became a New Democrat was because New Democrats came, not always early, but they did always stay late. New Democrats were able to answer our questions, and we didn't have to have them scripted. New Democrats stayed, and they were professional, but they could also be casual. That to me was really exciting, that they were able to talk at every level about every issue. And if they didn't know something, they said, I don't know, but I'm going to get back to you. And guess what? They actually got back to us. I worry. In my riding, we have a college and a university, and our young NDP there in Brant is doing amazing things, but the thing they talk about a lot is that when they talk to people at the schools, post-secondary schools, they say, I don't want to get involved in politics, I don't want to talk about politics, or some version of my politics were decided at my parents' kitchen table, and my parents aren't NDPers. And to me, it's not about being NDP or not at that level. To me, we have to actually look at, are we educated and as young people about the issues wherever we fall? I'm going to tell you a secret, and I hope you don't tell anybody else, but every party, including ours, has great ideas and not so great ideas. But young people get to actually shape the party policy, I think, a lot more in this party than in other parties. And again, that's exciting. So that's one thing that kind of worried me when people say, my parents talk at the kitchen table with me, and they're liberals, they're conservatives, that's the way I'm voting, and I'm not looking into it any further. They picked my team. We have to be a little more critical than that. The other thing that worries me is when colleges and universities want to be non-political spaces. They say, well, no, we don't want politics to touch our campuses. And we get that in our ridings, and we're saying, whoa, all politics should be touching campuses. The politics are local. All politics are local politics to some degree. And if we make these spaces, educational spaces where people are supposed to learn critical thought, people are supposed to engage with policies, and people are supposed to engage with each other, and we say, no, this is not a political space, well, it's going to become a political space in some way, shape, or form, and at least we're upfront about it. And at least we want to talk to people face to face, eye to eye, and do those grassroots things. We don't believe in a top-down society. We believe in a ground-up society. And to me, again, it's exciting. So we need your ears, and we need your backs, and we need your feet, and we need your knuckles to knock on doors, and we need your fingers to type on Facebook, and we need you to really be involved in the things we're doing. And I see a lot of smiling faces, and I see a lot of people who didn't know me before this, www.facebook.com/BrantMarc. For those of you who didn't, please come join us in some way, shape, or form. Stay involved, stay engaged, reach out, talk to us, the candidates, talk to the MPs. We're making ourselves as available as we can. We're a very accessible party, and we'll be a lot more accessible with your voices, branching out and reaching out to those people. And if they say, I'm sorry, my parents picked my politics, continue to be open to them and working with them and trying to help them see different ways and different policies, because over time we can change minds. And guess what? One day you're all going to be in your 30s and in your 40s, and you're going to have even more clout than you do now, because you're going to have learned from a very young age that there's stuff we can do, and there's stuff that we all do if we do it together. So thank you again, Stephen, and thank you everybody else. I really appreciate your time, and I'll be excited to go back to Brant with another story. Appreciate it.